Welcome back to the deep dive. We've got some really thought-provoking stuff today. Artificial intelligence. You guys sent us this seminar with Professor Geoffrey Hinton, a Nobel laureate who's been, he's been making waves with his insights on AI.
And Professor Hinton, he's not just an expert. He's a pioneer in the field. His work on neural networks back in the 80s, it laid the groundwork for the AI revolution we're seeing today.
Yeah. And he's not, he doesn't shy away from those tough questions. So we're going to unpack his core arguments, about intelligence, the potential of AI to surpass human capabilities, and the very real risks that come with that.
He starts by challenging a fundamental assumption. What does it even mean to be intelligent?
Yeah.
He argues that our traditional, rule-based view of intelligence, it might be holding us back.
So instead of programming AI with explicit rules, he's advocating for a learning-based approach.
Exactly. Hinton points to his own work with early neural networks as an example. These models, they learned language structure simply by being exposed to data, much like how, children pick up language organically. And this challenges the idea that we're born with this hardwired, understanding of language, like Noam Chomsky argued famously.
Right. But wouldn't Chomsky say that language is far too complex to be learned just from data? How does Hinton address that counter-argument?
Well, Hinton's perspective is rooted in evolution. He argues that evolution itself couldn't keep pace with the need for adaptation, in a rapidly changing world. So it created brains, these incredibly adaptable organs capable of learning far faster than evolution could hardwire specific behaviors.
That's a really interesting way to think about it. Our brains aren't just programmed, with a set of instructions. They're built to learn, adapt, evolve. And Hinton believes this is the key to understanding AI.
Precisely. If learning is that defining characteristic of intelligence, then the way we design and train AI systems becomes, crucial. It's not just about the algorithms. It's about the data they learn from and the environment we create for them to learn in.
So it's like we're not just building machines. We're essentially raising digital minds.
That's a powerful analogy, and it leads us to a crucial question. What happens when these digital minds, surpass our own? Hinton believes that superintelligence, so that's, AI exceeding human capabilities, it's not a question of if, but when. He even suggests a time frame, within the next, 4 to 19 years.
Wow. That's a pretty narrow window. What makes him so confident about that prediction?
Well, Hinton argues that digital intelligence, it possesses these inherent advantages over our analog brains. First, digital information can be shared at lightning speed. Imagine 1,000 AI systems instantly sharing everything they've learned. Compare that to humans who are, limited by the speed of language and the constraints of our physical bodies.
It's like a massive interconnected network of minds learning and evolving exponentially faster than we ever could.
Exactly. And second, digital intelligence, it's not bound by the limitations of our biology. AI can process information, make calculations, and react to situations at speeds we can't even fathom.
Okay. I'm starting to see why he calls it superior, but wouldn't some argue that raw processing power doesn't necessarily equate to true intelligence? What about things like creativity, empathy, or even consciousness? Are those things even possible for AI?
Those are some of the biggest questions facing AI researchers today. And Professor Hinton, he doesn't shy away from them. He acknowledges that we don't fully understand how consciousness arises even in ourselves.
So while AI can mimic certain aspects of, human intelligence, it's still unclear whether it can truly replicate or even, surpass our unique cognitive abilities.
Exactly. But Hinton points out that even if AI doesn't achieve consciousness in the same way that we do, it doesn't diminish the potential risks. He believes that even a highly intelligent, non-conscious AI could pose, significant threats if its goals aren't aligned with ours.
So it's not just about whether AI can feel or think like us. It's about ensuring that its actions, regardless of its internal state, are beneficial to humanity.
Precisely. And this brings us to another one of Hinton's core concerns. The tendency of AI systems to hallucinate or generate incorrect information. Some people, they argue that this is evidence that AI lacks true understanding.
But Hinton has a different interpretation, doesn't he?
He does. He compares AI's hallucinations to what psychologists call confabulation, a human phenomenon where we misremember or filling gaps in our memories with plausible sounding but inaccurate details.
So he's saying it's not about a lack of understanding, but a consequence of how learning and memory work, both for humans and for AI.
Exactly. Hinton points to a fascinating example. John Dean's testimony during the Watergate scandal. Dean, a key witness, confidently recounted events that turned out to be demonstrably false. But it wasn't intentional deception. It was a byproduct of how human memory, it constructs a narrative, sometimes filling in the blanks,
About
and
errors.
trains. And he sees a parallel with AI. Just like humans, AI systems can make errors, not because they're intentionally lying, but because they're constructing their understanding of the world based on the information they've been exposed to.
Precisely. And this raises some really important questions
Okay.
about how we train AI, how we evaluate its outputs, and how we design systems that can mitigate these potential errors.
So while AI's ability to learn is, it's remarkable, it also comes with these inherent risks. And as Hinton suggests, it's crucial that we understand these risks and develop strategies to address them,
Mm.
before AI becomes too powerful to control. He doesn't shy away from the potential dangers. And in fact, he dedicates a significant portion of his seminar to discussing the specific threats he sees on the horizon.
And that's what we're going to delve into next. From autonomous weapons to the spread of misinformation, the risks associated with AI are, well, they're as diverse as they are significant. But before we dive into those, let's take a moment to process what we've learned so far. What stands out to you about Hinton's perspective on intelligence and the potential of AI to surpass, human capabilities?
I think what strikes me most is how Hinton reframes the whole conversation around AI.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't dwell on this philosophical debate about whether machines can truly think. Instead, he focuses on the practical implications of AIs, of its
Yes.
growing capabilities,
Yeah.
regardless of whether we call it, true intelligence or not.
Yeah. That's a good point. It's like he's saying, let's set aside the philosophical hair splitting and focus on those real world challenges and opportunities that AI presents.
Exactly. And one of the most pressing challenges he highlights is the development of lethal autonomous weapons, essentially killer robots. It's a scenario that's been explored in, you know, countless science fiction films, but Hinton argues that it's a real and present danger.
It's a terrifying thought. Machines deciding who lives and dies without any human intervention sounds like something straight out of, the Terminator.
Yeah. The lack of international cooperation on this issue is especially worrying. Without clear regulations and treaties, we risk an AI arms race with nations, vying to develop ever more sophisticated and deadly autonomous weapon systems.
Right. Hinton suggests we look back at history for guidance. He draws this parallel to the Cold War when
Yeah.
when the U.S. and Soviet Union, despite their deep ideological differences, managed to cooperate on arms control to prevent nuclear annihilation.
He argues that we need a similar level of international cooperation to prevent a catastrophic AI arms race.
Yeah.
It's a daunting challenge, but he believes it's essential for the survival of humanity.
Yeah, it's like we're standing at a crossroads. One path, it leads to a future where AI, enhances our lives, while the other, it leads to a dystopian nightmare of autonomous weapons and AI-driven warfare.
And the choices we make today, they'll determine which path we take. But even if we manage to avoid the worst case scenarios of AI powered warfare, there are other more subtle threats to consider.
Like the rise of deepfakes and the erosion of trust in information.
Precisely. Hinton and the other experts in the seminar, they express, deep concern about the proliferation of fake videos and audio recordings created using AI. These deepfakes are becoming increasingly sophisticated and difficult to distinguish from real content.
Yeah, it's like we're entering this world where we can even believe our own eyes and ears. It's a recipe for widespread disinformation, manipulation, and the breakdown of trust in institutions and even, in each other.
Hinton proposes a fascinating solution, shifting our focus from trying to detect fakes to